Howdy, folks. We are back. Steidel 24 and Jag here to bring you the action as we have Quinnipiac University facing off against Wichita State University, a bit of a repeat from last week.
Yeah, this is a rematch. We didn't get to see this team go face-to-face against each other, unfortunately, because they played it off-stream due to some scheduling issues. So now we're going to see it here on EGF Overwatch, and there's a lot on the line here today. It's been a weird day as is. All of the underdogs have won in big upsets. Also, all the teams that were featured on the right of the schedule have fun so far, so it's a few things to consider here, but there's really no underdog here. Yes, Wichita State, they have the head-to-head victory over Quinnipiac from last week, but both these teams are 6-3. Both these teams are vying for playoff spots, and we already know what the map pool is because we've seen it already 3 times today. Ilios is going to be what we're going to be starting off on. I think we might have lost Steidel there for a second.
There it is.
There we are.
Ilios is one of my favorite maps to start off on just because it's the fun map, in my opinion. When I think of the maps of Overwatch that you really just get to let loose on, Ilios is the prime subject. You get the boops, you get the fun points. It's just my favorite place to start.
And it's something that we haven't seen a lot in EGF. For the fall split, I think it was primarily going to be, it was Lijiang Tower, it was Busan, and it was Nepal. I think those are the 3 maps we had, and I'm sure Chad will correct me if I was wrong, but Ilios, we haven't seen it at all in 2020 for Season 2. Now in 2021, we've seen it a lot. It is a very fun map, and I think the biggest thing is it's been so chaotic. Every series I've seen in these last 2 weeks, it's just been so back and forth on Ilios. You can never really figure out where a fight's going to go until it's over, and that's where Overwatch is its most fun and its most insane. So we'll see how it goes. Quinnipiac going to be on the right, Wichita State University on the left, and like we said, Quinnipiac, they're looking for revenge, right? They lost last week, and I was talking to one of their players, and they were telling me how much they really want to get revenge here, and they feel a lot more prepared now because they already know Wichita State's going to run.
And we're seeing that Ryan Zarya combination that you talked about, and this is a breath of fresh air for me. I've seen a lot of double bubble today and in the games that I've been covering. Interested to see how the Sombras work out. Really need to be able to collapse onto that hacked target. Otherwise, that Sombra kind of just becomes a moot point.
Yeah, and Sombras are very counter to the Wrecking Ball, but there's no Wrecking Ball out, so right now you want to find the Ryan, and they find the Ryan early, fluffy but deadly hacked out. If they can find the kill there, it's going to be huge for Wichita State, but they stay alive.
They're able to stay alive just in time. Mayonnaise, however, going to bite the dust. Kaleko going to take them out of the fight. Corey charging away just to get a little bit safe as the retreat kind of gets called through. Wichita State have the upper hand. Foxicon getting an answer back on to Corey and Quinnipiac. Even though they've been able to get a little bit of purchase, not able to get past this front area, Wichita State will take the point first.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to go for the Ryan v. Ryan matchup, the first target's always going to be the Reinhardt. There was a huge hack there, but they could not take down Flavia Deadly. Wichita State, they keep their Reinhardt alive, and now they're going to have a Shatter as well as a Coalescence. There's a lot of ultimates on their side, but Corey Trevor isn't too far behind, as neither is Cookie.
That Coalescence is going to start things off from Seed, and Dynamite exploding into the kill feed, finding 3, and pushing the push forward for Wichita State University.
And Nanny's now on the Soldier 76. This is a very interesting choice. They've already given up on the Sombra, and I'm not sure if that's the play. I don't think Sombra is the play in general here, but I don't think Soldier is either, unless they're taking that high ground and getting a great angle where you can shoot over the top. You can do that pretty well, but also Kellikill is on the Diva, so all of that damage that you could have on the flank is going to be eaten up regardless. And now that High Noon is going to be online from Diamond Knight, and they could combo with Fluffy but at least Shatter.
Oh, and they're looking for it, able to roll in, throw in the flashbang, the Shatter comes down, Fluffy able to find himself a little bit there, and man, Wichita State, they are just biding their time and then exploding into Quinnipiac, and Quinnipiac just cannot react quick enough.
Yeah, and I mean, it's still pretty early on, so we don't want to count gooses before they lay eggs, but this looks like a bit of a repeat so far. There are ultimates online for both sides. It's going to be down to Broccoli being able to hide and stay away from Plexecution's EMP. If you hit the beat drop beforehand, if you use the sound barrier ahead of time, it's going to be canceled.
And you can see on your screen, Broccoli kind of off in the back there as the hack comes through. Deadeye not going to land, going to be called back from Quinnipiac. Grub not going to find anything from it, and the self-destruct kind of towards the point. Coming through from Wichita State, just a bit of a zoner as Quinnipiac is able to find a couple of kills. Wichita answering back in spades. Seed with another Coalescence. And Foxicon coming back soon. Quinnipiac have the bodies to take the point. They just need someone to take it, but the charge, the Reinhardt now on point. Gonna be going after Grub, taking them out and delaying that retake as the respawns for Wichita State are here. They're back, and it's over.
And did you see what happened there? Flexecution waits for that sound barrier to be dropped, hits the EMP just as that cast time goes down. You're going to see Foxicon with a celebratory sound barrier of their own. It's a very long cast time for Lucio, and a lot of players make the mistake of accidentally jumping in the air, so it makes it even longer. It's not like a Zenyatta Transcendence where it's instantaneous. So there you saw the EMP coming out full frontal. It was perfect. It got Quinnipiac on their heels in Wichita State. They're going to take that first round. And again, that soldier from Mayonnaise, I think there was a good idea there. But when you're going up against a D.Va, it's not going to be as successful as you want it to be. And now they're going to be swapping to double snipers on the side of Quinnipiac.
I'm okay with the double sniper decision. D.Va can really, as long as they're splitting their sight lines and getting a bit of a cross shot in, the D.Va can really only go after one, and Quinnipiac's not even going to have the D.Va. However, if Corey's going to run this Sigma...
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, the Sigma for me is the kink in the machine for the Quinnipiac University matchup right now.
I mean, you get an extra shield and you still have the grass that can eat like a D.Va's Matrix, but it's not as consistent, it's not as constant, and that D.Va can keep contesting the high ground. So even though that there's an extra shield, it's not going to be as much as you think it will be in the long view of this matchup, but they do get fluffy but deadly.
Yeah, Grub able to burst down that shield, and Mayonnaise coming through with the Peacekeeper, looking to get the kill on a Dynamite as well, and it looks like Corey just sticking with their McCree, giving their McCree a bit of a shield so they can be extremely aggressive, and it's working out for Quinnipiac. They'll be able to take first take. Got a couple supports in the side. Flexecution into the backline does get caught out by Grub. The question is, can Grub finish the kill? No. Translocate is there. Fluffy but deadly back onto the point, but Mayonnaise and Grub both there around the corner to dish out DPS, and the burst is there. They've got to back him out. But Quinnipiac's gonna lose their main tank.
They trade out dueling coalescences now, but it looks like Wichita State is going to get the better end of this trade as they try to track down Mayonnaise. They're going to fall. There's just a Moira as well as... No, there's not even a Hanzo left anymore. No, it's just the Moira. Moira finds one, but that is going to be eventually the point flipping over to Wichita State once they can finally clean that up. And you see the advantage there of the double shield. It lets you have your McCree. Mayonnaise just kind of fire away. You've got a little protection for them. But when they are able to move past that on the side of Wichita State, because they have Foxicon with the speed, so they can just Lucio speed past that second shield, go straight onto the Reinhardt, and that's how they won that fight.
Oh no, he needs to be very careful. Dynamite now helping Flexecution look for the pick. They go for the Deadeye. Mayonnaise not gonna fall, but Seed falling indeed off of the map. In fact, Deadeye from Quinnipiac not gonna find anything except for the Lucio, but that's gonna be just enough. They're also able to bait out that Earth Shatter from Fluffy but Deadly and commit that Gravitic Flex to take him out of the fight and get the point. Does go back to Quinnipiac, however. Wichita State only at 35%, only that Deadeye online. Looks like a bit of a different team here.
Yeah, and they're going to want that EMP back. Execution had a great idea there, but they missed the most important target, which was the Sigma. That Gravitic Flux, it got rid of Fluffy but Deadly. The rest of the team was able to stay alive instead of Quinnipiac, and now they're going to be at half of the point being capped.
Half the point capped indeed. Fluffy trying to swing away. Firewolf, however. Ryan on point. Broccoli has the Coalescence at the ready, but the Dynamite coming in with the Deadeye isn't going to find anything. Is able to, however, get there with the fan of the hammer. Finds the Mercy indeed. Cookie going down. Quinnipiac with just nothing left on the point. Committed that Coalescence from Broccoli. I guess it's okay. You did get the Coalescence out of Seed.
Yeah, every time that we've seen that Coalescence duel off, it seems like Seed is getting the better part of it. They did fall off the map earlier, but they didn't fall off that time, which is very good for them. But the alt banks have been reset a little bit. The thing that's closest for either team is Firewolf's Shatter, as well as Grub's Dragon Strike, which is going to be very close to being online. So Grub really needs to make sure that this isn't eaten by Kellet Gale. You can try to use the Dragon Strike as a way to get onto the point, maybe get the shield down, or you can just go for that huge Shatter.
Oh, the Shatter that was Spatter is there on the ground. Dragon's there to clean people up, but Wichita State able to actually get off the ground and out of the way of the Dragon, but not out of the way of the damage. Quinnipiac continuing to follow through with the kills. The tanks, however, Kellic on this D.Va for Wichita State has been an absolute game changer.
Yeah, and there was a great combo play. I was talking about using the dragons first. They decided to use it second after a really great shatter from Firewolf, but Grub just a little bit hesitant, didn't want to use it until they knew there were people on the ground, and that cast time, again, it's costly. And now Flexecution, this EMP is there, and Cookie does not have Valkyrie yet.
Want to be aggressive with it, able to find 3. Quinnipiac now in a bit of trouble. The shatter goes down, the self-destruct to follow, and everything getting thrown at them from Wichita State University, except for that kitchen sink. Able to pick them up 2 kills, but Quinnipiac still in a good position to keep this alive. Coalescence coming out from Seed, last ultimate online, except for the Deadeye in Dynamite's pocket. Still waiting. Firewolf is down.
I think this is an V1. It is Wichita State. They're able to pull it out, and although the Mercy did get a lot of value there for Quinnipiac, they were able to get a few key reses. I think it really came down to the fact that that Lucio sound barrier was on for Wichita State at the very end. They timed it very well there. They're able to sustain themselves throughout that final fight. Wichita State, they're starting things just like they did last week with that round win and the map win on Ilios.
And look at Fluffy but Deadly just beautifully laying in that shatter just to the left of the shield, finding the majority of the team a bit of a clinic, if you will, being put on by Wichita State. But Quinnipiac not out of it. They looked like those last couple of fights, it was 1 or 2 people. That was the difference between, you know, taking the point and losing it. They weren't these big flows of team kills or anything like that.
And I think, again, if that Dragon Strike had been thrown in just a smidge quicker by Grub, that would have been a huge play that would have wiped out Wichita State. At least would have taken down Fluffy but Deadly earlier, because when you take out that Ryan, it opens you up to taking out many other targets. At the end of the day, they still had their Diva and their McCree there to keep on to the point, but they looked a lot better than they did on the first one on Lighthouse. They were not able to really play at the same level as Wichita State. They were able to get a lot of point percentage there on Ruin, so as long as they can keep upping their play, they'll be able to go tit for tat here on map 2, which we know is going to be Eichenwald, and going to be lovely to see that map screen again. But you know what's even better than that? It's seeing your camera working. Oh man, you look gorgeous, but we're going to have to go away from that for a second. Eichenwald, as we said, that second map, and we've seen a lot of different stuff here in Eichenwald today. I still am a firm believer that Ryan is the best tank, but I mean, in that last team, William and Mary, they ran double bubble, and it just was so much trouble for their opposing team.
So I'm definitely in the camp of double bubble, especially on Eichenwald, just because of, at this level of play, how important the team fight is. How important it is that, you know, even if the payload isn't necessarily moving, that doesn't matter. As long as you're winning that team fight, you can go back to the payload and get your progression then. And as long as you can consistently do that, then you'll win the fight. And Eichenwald is the epitome of that second point if you're playing that double bubble, because you have to control that high ground. And we talked about it a little bit last time that we saw a double bubble there on Eichenwald, about how it's not necessarily about winning the fight on that high ground. It's just about making the opponent uncomfortable on the high ground. Can you get 1 or 2 of them to drop to the low ground to contest that payload in the middle of the fight? Can you boop that Reinhardt down there and take a 3v1 on the low ground, mix things up, and then use that mobility to once again take back that high ground? So I think that the double bubble on Eichenwald has been a blast to see. As much as I love the Ryan Zarya, if it's not King's Row, I'm okay with something else.
I want to tell them that on Ilios, because that's basically all we saw there. We actually saw Ryan Diva, so it's a bit of a different variation, but that was what the winning team run. Ryan Diva, it's kind of been this odd couple. Usually the only combination they have is throwing the Diva bomb up, hoping the team turns around, and then hitting the shatter. Great combination there, but they don't have to play as well in tandem as Orion and Zarya. Diva, she can kind of go on her own, be a bit of a flanker like a Roadhog, but instead of getting those one-shot, one-kill hooks, she's just going to contest high ground. She's going to make players like a Widowmaker very uncomfortable. She's going to contest that high ground like a Winston would in the double bubble, and it's just making people uncomfortable. So we'll see how that comes out, but the most fun thing about, I think, where we are right now in Overwatch is the meta is just all over the place. There really isn't a decisive comp, so we've been talking about a lot of things that could happen, and we could see something completely new. Maybe we'll even get Double Shield back in the mix. I mean, I hope not. I hope I didn't cast or curse it into existence, but it's a possibility.
Maybe a Nano Hammond.
Oh, no. You already got it. You already got your one Nano win. You already got it once.
Is there really too much of a good thing? I don't think so. I'm totally happy to see Brightball come back into the mix. But let's take a look at what Quinnipiac is throwing at the table. Wichita State is going to be on the attack, so they are going to be able to set a bit of the pace. And defensively, not seeing too much of a variation of what we saw before. Grub going to be onto that Hanzo instead of the McCree, and Mayonnaise sporting that Soldier.
It's interesting. We're seeing Wichita State. They actually want to try running the Sigma Reinhardt themselves, but they are going to be running it with a Lucio Moira, which I think is the best way. I mean, I said this a lot last time. I probably said this a lot every time I've been on EGF. Ryan and Lucio, they are a match made in heaven. You got to run them together almost every time, unless it's a Ryan Arista comp. That's like the one time you can get away with it. But here, Wichita State, they're going to have that speed. They're going to have that extra shield. And they're going to be locking the legs. In fact, both teams are going to be locking the legs. So we're going to see Mayo and Flexecution go at each other. I love these mirror matchups.
Gets a little bit dicey. You get to see which is the best on the hero. Dynamite, though, taking Grub completely out of the equation. And Wichita State University, pedal to the metal, already on point with a pick. They're going to be working on that Reinhardt, getting frightfully low. Corey looking for some healing into the backline, trying to duck away into this back zone, but the damage is just too much from Wichita State. Foxicon able to find that kill, and Quinnipiac all corralled into the back of the point as Wichita State demands that they take this.
Broccoli able to take one out on their way, but going to be immediately traded out. So that's going to be a bit of a long spawn for that Zenyatta, who does not walk very quickly because they float slowly instead. And you're seeing why I like the Lucio Moira. It's just so brawly. It's so aggressive. There the Moira dies, and they might have been pushing up a bit too far here. Might have to do a bit of a reset, but it's a very fast, quick take for point one, and they have 5.5 minutes left. They almost have some ultimates, including the Gravitic Flux and the High Noon, and if you can combo that, get the right people up in the air, that can be almost an insta-kill, and Mayonnaise might be caught out a little bit there. They look out of it. I think for Quinnipiac, the biggest thing is they've got to put as much resources into their soldier as possible. Give them the mercy buff. Try to get as much damage from afar. Don't let them be alone. Because right now, the support advantage is so much for Wichita State.
Oh no, there goes the Gravitic Flux into the Coalescence, and attack visor from Mayonnaise looks to stifle the bleeding, but it's not going to happen. The shield is up, and the Coalescence still forcing Mayonnaise to back out a little bit. Helix Rocket to try and get a little bit of fear into Dynamite's heart, but Foxicon on this Lucio just being the aggressor.
Yeah, we call it a Reddit Lucio, but really it's just a very skilled Lucio. You know your role, you know you're mostly there to help your Reinhardt get in and out as well as keep your team alive, but when you know that you can win that matchup and you go in with the support of everyone else, you win those every time. That's going to be an uncontested cap there on the second point, and almost 6 minutes in the time bank. Wichita State, they are making quick work of this right now.
Quick work of this indeed. I mean, already pushing up to the first corner. They've got ultimates to boot. Fluffy but Deadly's got the Shatter. Dynamite's got the Deadeye. Flexecution's about to have the attack visor online. I mean, they've got everything they need. Sound barrier for the Gravitons. And Transcendence from Broccoli put out into a bit of an aggressive manner, and that's going to open things up for the Deadeye. But the Rock's there, but not in time. The shot goes off and takes Corey out of the mix. Mayonnaise trying to even things out, but it's not going to happen as Wichita State continues to heckle in these kills.
They're trying to go for that Shatter. The Fluffy but Deadly was trying to get up there.
Mayonnaise now getting taken down there on the flank. And there's really not much that Quinnipiac can do. Gravitic Flux at the spawn door. Shatter as well, ready from Wichita State. And not even going to need to commit it. They're going to be able to put time on the clock. 4 minutes and 53 seconds. Blowing through Eichenwald.
That was a very impressive attack, and I'm going to keep harping on it, but I really think it's just a support lineup. Broccoli and Cookie, they're very good support players, but they're just not running the right heroes. Broccoli, you could frag it on the Zenyatta, but the problem is that you're being pressured too much because all of Wichita State is just surrounding you with this Lucio speed and that Moira grasp. So they're just not able to do much. Unfortunately, they're pushed into a corner, and there's really no way to get out of it. You saw there that the Soldier Visor wasn't really great on either side, but it created more space for Flexecution. When they used it, they pushed Quinnipiac into a corner all the way around the last corner of this third point of Eichenwald, and from there, Wichita State, they pounced, and Fluffy but Deadly, they were trying to find that big Shatter, but instead they just swung for the fences, found the Mercy, Cookie was taken out of the fight, and from there, they knew there was no resurrection, that they would win the point. They did, and now Quinnipiac, they are switching things up, but I'm not sure about this Ana Moira.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Ult-wise, a lot of potential, but we've already touched on it. The Moira and the Ana really don't synergize well together. Their kits aren't really the best of fits. You can make it work, don't get me wrong, but what you have to do to make it work kind of pulls value from both of those healers. And either your tanks or your DPS are going to be left a little bit wanting if Wichita State continues to dish out the damage they have.
I think one thing that it makes you do, though, if you're on the side of Wichita State, is you got to be a lot more careful with Kelikil's shield, especially if Broccoli's hitting those nades, because if your team is antied and you're very vulnerable without an immortality field, that could be the end of a fight right there. So that Ana brings a whole new element to their attack right now for Quinnipiac. I'm just not sure if it's going to be enough. More healing, maybe not enough sustain, though. That's a weird thing to say, but it might not work out. But Mayonnaise is going to be in the back with the hack.
And a bit of a tricky decision to come outside of the invisibility before actually initiating that hack onto the Torbjorn. Was able to turn, use the shotgun, take him out, and the team said, oop, did I hear dinner? And took that fight to spawn.
Yeah, that was unlucky. Mano was waiting for that turret to be broken so they wouldn't be found out. They come out of it, but Flexecution is just so good on this Torbjorn. Hates the headshot. I mean, Torb's got that alternate, really close shotgun fire. There it was, right to the head. Mayonnaise going to be taken out of that one, and that's going to send Quinnipiac back to spawn, and they're going to have to figure out something to do here. Again, you see Mayonnaise is on the flank, but they're not hacking the right target. They got to go for one of the shields here.
They can take down Fluffy but Deadly, which they've done. That can be a big opener. No Shattered online, no shield either, but it's a bit of a moot point as the Coalescence from Seed leads the way for Wichita State. They only have to commit that one ultimate, and they're going to get the full defense.
Yeah, it was a good play, though, by Mayonnaise. I like that hack a lot better. It forces Seed to use that Coalescence to make sure their Reinhardt doesn't fall. It also gives away that Fluffy but Deadly does, in fact, have the Shatter, so they might play a little bit differently around that. The question is, can they get the hack this time? That's enough. There is a Nano as well as a Coalescence right now from Quinnipiac, so if they Nano the right person and use the Coalescence, they might be able to mow down whoever is hacked here.
And there goes the hack going out. Doesn't land on the Torbjorn. Once again, Flexecution able to turn and find a Kellic. Able to find two. And Wichita State continues their hold. I mean, right now, Wichita just absolutely putting on a clinic. It looks like every time the Quinnipiac gets the hack, usually you would see Quinnipiac pushing forward and acting on that, but one member from Wichita State gets hacked and they press W.
That is, I mean, they're just being so aggressive right now for Wichita State, right? They're not afraid to use ultimates first. They use the Goridic Flux there in a sort of weird situation, but it works out for them. They get 2 kills immediately off of it, and now they've got 3 other ultimates built up.
Well, there it is. It's a hot day on the point, but the Dragons are here to stay. Foxicon is going to get taken out, but the Shatter inside of the Molten Core is going to put out a lot of damage. Nano boost to try and keep Firewolf alive, but the healers are getting taken down, so thus is Firewolf. Quinnipiac not going to be able to put it together. 1 minute and 13 seconds left. They're going to have an EMP and a Gravitic Flux soon. But other than that, it's going to be a race to build ultimates for the final fight.
And we've seen this Dosito before, the EMP versus the Sound Barrier. Foxicon, they got to hide. They got to be waiting for their time to just pop out and make an appearance. Because if this EMP for Mayonnaise is big, it could be enough for them to take this first point. The fact that they had the Graded Flux on top to follow it up with is huge.
Oh, the Reinhardt getting dangerously low, and Firewolf getting taken out of the mix. Mayonnaise now can't waste any time, has to commit the EMP, gets it in, finds 3, but the kill is still falling for Wichita State. Corey trying to make sure that they can at least get Flexecution out of the fight, but Flexecution staying alive to the bitter end and allowing for a bit of a bait to the back corner. So Foxconn and Fluffy can find those last 2 kills, and with 30 seconds left, no ultimates online for Quinnipiac University. Wichita State looks to set away their second map.
And it was just a perfect play there by Wichita State. They actually do have their Lucio hacked out, so Foxicon not in the right position, but they're able to kill their Reinhardt so quickly in that engagement that there is not enough firepower for Quinnipiac to really engage with that. Now here's the Gravitic Flux of their own, and they're looking to shut things down.
What a flex it was, getting the Sigma completely low. Dynamite gonna get taken out there in the very beginning, but Kellic will be able to stabilize as Wichita State looks to get the deed done. The Shatter will land from Fluffy, Sound Barrier from Fox, just to make sure they can get this in. Quinnipiac right now, if they can hold on for just a little bit longer, they've got an Ana coming back from spawn with a Nano boost, but it's just not going to happen. The rest of the supports are down, and a Doomfist is on the field.
And this is just continuing our what we've seen so far. The right side of the bracket, the schedule has looked dominant. Wichita State, they have not slowed down at all. I mean, that's another full hold. I think that's the 3rd full hold I've seen today on Eichenwald, which is usually not a map that is full held very easily. there were opportunities there for Quinnipiac. There were a few, especially when they were able to get, I think they got an early pick a few times and they had the nano. It just wasn't executed right. There was a great charge, a counter charge that stopped the Reinhardt from getting in. Fluffy but Deadly did what they did best. They stayed alive. They got a shatter out, and they were going up against a nanoed Reinhardt, and they were still staying alive because there was a Moira there, Seed, just giving them all of that heal juice in the world they could need. And now Wichita State, they were only one map away from doing exactly what they did last week, and that is sweeping Quinnipiac.
And you know, the map pool for today has, in my opinion, is a bit of a rough one for teams that lose 2 maps off of bat, because Temple of Anubis going to be our 3rd map, right? That 2 CP, that assault map style, one where if you're not 100% together, a team that is going to be able to pick you apart. And right now, WSU, there haven't been a lot of cracks in the armor. They're there, and Quinnipiac needs to be able to kind of pressure those mistakes. But it seems like in this matchup, it's been WSU who's been capitalizing on mistakes more than Quinnipiac.
Absolutely. I mean, Wichita State hasn't played the perfect game. In fact, none of the teams that really won today have. There's always those little errors that come up here and there, but it's just the team that's winning is usually that's capitalizing on the other team's mistakes. So Quinnipiac and Wichita State, they're both having a bit of misplays, a few errors. Wichita State, they're just being able to focus around what they're seeing their enemy do wrong, and then they capitalize. That is why they're up 2-0. And like you said, Anubis, it's a very hard map to start your reverse sweep on. Assault in general, not the most forgiving. On maps that have payloads, on maps that are control points, it's a little bit easier to come back. You know, you can lose a fight or two, but you lose 2 fights in Assault, it's over. It's done. And the teams that have had big leads coming into Assault, they're capping with more time than they started with so far, that we've seen so in the day. So we'll see if Wichita State can continue that reign of terror, but I'm wondering if we're going to see more Ryan Zarya. It's probably the map we expect at least on because of the high ground contest on first point. Second point, you can swap off and go to it because it's more linear, but I mean, that first point, you need some verticality, right? So I'd love to see Calico at least, at the very least, back on the Diva because they did amazingly that first time.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see Wichita State bring that Ryan Diva back into the mix. However, a topic that I love to talk about, the mental game of aspects, or the mental aspect of the game, not necessarily the mechanical one. If Quinnipiac is able to put this together and take this win on Temple of Anubis, it's a big win. It's not just, you know, oh, we want a control point. You've taken one of the harder map styles to take off of a team that has been pretty dominant so far in the series. And if you're going to turn it around, not only do you have to do it here, but mentally, this is the best place to do it.
Yeah, I mean, after being shut out on Icon World, what better way to get back into this than getting a full stop of your own, not letting them get anything up, or at least winning the map in a pretty decisive way. You don't want it to go up to kind of that 50-50 draw where maybe that's that one shot that someone hits is what wins you the game. So you need to execute better as a team. You need to have a more concrete game plan, and you got to have a better composition. I already said it a lot, but it's the support lineup that's really, I think, gonna put Quinnipiac in the grave early on if they can't figure it out. And it's not the players. I think both Cookie and Broccoli have done a great job in the roles that they have, but they're just not reading the room right. They're not running the right support lineup for the tanks they want to do. And if they can switch that up, I mean, they can switch the tanks. You could run the Sigma Wrecking Ball, and then I'm like saying, yeah, go for the Mercy, go for the Zenyatta. Those work great in tandem with those tanks. But, I mean, Reinhardt, anything, Reinhardt Zarya, Reinhardt Diva, Reinhardt Sigma, Lucio Moira, or Lucio Bap, just something with the Lucio. That's what they need. And I think the mental game, you know, they're not adapting quick enough. If they're able to get it together here, then maybe they'll be able to get the juices flowing. The momentum can swap in their favor. But so far, you can kind of tell that they're losing, you know, sight of the game.
Yeah, and I do believe that Wichita State is going to be... I'm not sure if you know which size they are, but if Wichita State attacks first again, just back to touch on the mental aspect of things, I feel like for Quinnipiac, if you have the choice of attacking or defending, it looks like we have no side swaps, so Quinnipiac will be defending first. And, you know, this is Wichita State to drive that nail into the coffin mentally. If you blow through those first 2 maps, if you add time to the clock again, then coming into Quinnipiac's attack, I just feel like that player mentality is going to be a little low.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting to decide like what you want to do. Like, do you go for the defense if you're winning? I personally like that idea because then you're saying we're gonna full hold you here, we're gonna get that one tick we need, and we're gonna go for it. But there's that other flip side of the coin. We were saying, hey, we've been so dominant on attack. Why even bother going to defense first? We did so well at Echo. We had almost 5 minutes when we finished. We could do that here on Assault. We can have that great timing. So even if Quinnipiac finishes the map, we'll have that huge lead going into extra rounds. So I think that's the mindset that Wichita State has. And why not? I mean, already they had kind of that mental advantage because Quinnipiac coming in, they had a chip on their shoulder, having to get revenge, having to get even in the head-to-head in the season. We don't see a lot of games back-to-back here in EGFC, so it's really a treat we're getting here today. Wichita State, they want to write this next chapter the exact same as the last one ended, and they've got one chance to do it right here, right now. And I mean, here we go, the verticality.
No rewrites, same story.
I'd buy that book.
You know, does it have photos? Does it have pictures?
Yeah, I'd hope so, because I actually can't read.
Pictures, so.
Ladies
and gentlemen, we like pictures, not words. That's why we cast video games.
Yeah, not audiobook readers. But I mean, look at Wichita State's comp already. They're swapping things up for the first time. They're gonna have that Wrecking Ball, so no Ana, so no Nano possibility. But this is great because what Flavio Deadly's gonna try to do is just boot everyone off the high ground. And then the rest of the team is just going to try to zone in on at least 1 or 2 players that are pretty squishy.
Oh, and you can see it already. He's trying to get this corner jump on. There it is. Able to get the jump. Knocks the Mercy out of the way, but she'll be able to Guardian Angel back onto the high ground. Tori able to find the first kill onto Dynamite, and Fluffy just barely missing that pile drive. Isn't going to be able to find the kill. Peppering a little bit of time on the point to get some action as the res comes through. Wichita State now a full 6 once again. And they're going to send the Hammond and the Winston off on the flame. Flexecution, who's been such a deadly member of this team, now going to be chasing the supports onto the low ground. Dynamite very close to finding themselves a kill, able to find Cookie out, and now with the second one under Grub, puts the kills together as Wichita State puts themselves 2 bodies up. Seed, not even in view of the point on this Zenyatta, while the DPS in tanks just go ham.
Yeah, Flexecution gives their life to the claws, but it's going to be a very quick and efficient cap. They're going to get rezzed up too, so they are back in it. He's going to do a bit of an emo. And you see, I love the Mercy. I love the Zen with this comp. I said that Quinnipiac should try running it. Wichita State, I hope you're not stream sniping us, because this is a great comp. It's very fun to run as well, especially if you can follow up with your Tracer and Echo when your Wrecking Ball rolls in. And at Quinnipiac, they actually got the first kill there, but it's just not sustainable. I talked about the support line earlier. Now it's the tank line I don't like. We talked about an Orisa Zarya, but like Zarya is Sigma? What is this?
I'm not quite sure what Quinnipiac's bringing to the table, but you know, Dynamite putting in a little bit of a show on, if you will. Gonna go ahead and just echo the Mercy, use the Valkyrie, get the damage in. The snowball is there. Are they gonna be able to cap with 5 minutes on the clock?
Yes, they do, and what a great way to do it. I mean, they had so many ultimates that came up right at the very end. Dynamite, I don't see that very often where the Mercy, you duplicate the Mercy. I've only seen that once actually, before today, and it was in the EBC majors, and it was like sheer cold. They double pocketed their Echo. It was quite a sight. Or no, they double pocketed their Tracer. I'm saying it was a sight to behold, regardless. But there, Dynamite just said, "I'm gonna use this as an extra life, and I'm gonna go battle Mercy with Valkyrie," and that's just a flex right there. I can't say anything else. Yeah. I mean, Wichita State, they looked just absolutely amazing there. They lost one person at the very beginning. They lost Flexecution after the cap first point. I think those were the only deaths they had that entire round.
And nobody had to go back to spawn. There was a res every time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Wichita State just absolutely putting on. I can't say it enough. They're putting on a clinic right now. And Flexecution going over to that Torbjorn. This time, Quinnipiac, you've got to be ready for it. You know that Flexecution is feeling comfortable right now. So he's going to go for the Torbjorn. He loves to play this on defense. The question is, Doomfist Tracer, is that the answer?
They're going for double bubble. They want to get a lot of flanking damage, but again, that Torbjorn is going to be a great counter to that. So I'm not sure. Doomfist is a lot more sustainable than a Tracer. I mean, once you use your recall, it's basically GG. So it's going to be really up to Greb to get into a position where they're not going to be taking turret damage. It's possible. I think this is a good comp, but again, the support line, I feel like this is the support line I should have been running before. Now run like an Ana and a Zen or something. Maybe an Ana and a Brig to protect, your Ana. Brig be the bouncer for the Ana, make sure that no one dives after them, because you've got to play this like a brawl otherwise with your AoE healers.
Well, they're going to be taking their time while Grub goes ahead and scouts out where that turret is, and ooh, he finds out with the help of Dynamite. Able to find one kill. Mayonnaise takes Kellic out of the fight, but Fox, we're going to have a res, going to have to decide what to grab. Main tank's going to be the decision. Flexecution is going to get taken down, and Mayonnaise may have been the breath of fresh air that Quinnipiac needs, but the rest of the team not able to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
And one thing I find very interesting is that even though they have the Resurrection online, Foxconn decides to save it for another day, and I think that's really smart. Flexecution is actually going to swap to the Tracer. Not sure about that one. I felt like the Torbjorn was a pretty good pick to counter what Quinnipiac is running, but wants to get back into the fight more quickly, so we'll see how that works out in the end. We'll see some more Tracer on Tracer action. The biggest thing for Wichita State is they built up ultimates in that fight. Dynamite has been exactly that, is almost close to that duplicate, and Fluffy but Deadly pretty close to those mines. Valkyrie also not too far behind.
This time, Grub looking to have a bit of a different interaction. Maybe get a little bit more damage in it, but Tracer not get taken out immediately. Is able to do a little bit of damage, but not a lot. Has to back out. There goes the punch, barely missing out on the Sigma. But Mayonnaise still able to help out with that damage. Finally, taking Kellic out of the fight. Nobody, however, dealing with Fluffy but Deadly. Gets the mines out. Has to sacrifice their life to do it, but the kills are still coming through. And we're seeing that res from Foxconn change the game once again. Waits a long time and then brings Kellic in as the mines come out.
Seed swapping over to the Brigitte, I really like that against the Doomfist Tracer, but before they were on Baptiste, and there was a great play there that could have been a kill for Mayonnaise. They were punching straight into that Baptiste as well as Kellic Gill, but it looks like Broccoli just had a bit of a miscommunication, went for the boop instead. I think they were trying to break the lamp that was just placed there, but because of that, they don't hit the punch, and now they only have 1:50, and now they don't have a Zarya.
They don't have a Zarya, and the Doomfist not able to find anything with that Meteor Strike. So it's going to put Foxconn in a really good position here in the skies. Going to lose one of their members, but the res still online. Able to use this billboard as a bit of a safety shield. Beautiful play and map knowledge being shown off here by the Wichita State crowd. Firewolf able to find one onto Kellic to put Quinnipiac into a better position, and they're keeping together. They are playing a bit more like a brawl, and the pulse bomb comes out, but the shield is there. Fluffy but Deadly still alive right now. Able to find the pile drive and trying to work up to another minefield, but it does look like Quinnipiac should be able to find themselves the victory here on this first point. Not the same amount of time in the time bank, and not even a tick on the map just yet. There's the first tick, and the respawns are coming back for Wichita.
Yeah, they have a duplicate. Do they commit it here? I think after losing Flexecution, you just try to kill as much time. You don't use any more ultimates. You save them for the next test. But Fluffy but Deadly gets back into this so quickly. No. You just keep throwing bodies at this until it's over. At the end of the day, you're still going to have a lot more time even to get the full cap. And again, I think that big misplay is kind of Flexecution swapping off of the Torbjorn. I think that was a great counter pick. Obviously, you're a bit slower, but you can use your E ability to speed up a little bit. There, they don't have that extra counter to Mayonnaise. And Mayonnaise did kind of go ham at the very end there. So now there is a chance for Quinnipiac to get back into the series that they capped that first point.
Oh! And Flexecution playing the distraction for Mayonnaise as Dynamite does the DPS in the back and to take him out of the fight completely. And Wichita State, they put on an aggressive show this entire matchup, and they're not looking to stop now as they push all the way up to the initial choke just outside of spawn.
And there's a winning combination here for Quinnipiac. They had the Graviton Surge online. Grub almost has that Pulse Bomb, so they're going to lose this fight pretty cleanly. But if you wait and you get it together for the next one, you hit that ultimate combo, make sure you get 1 or 2 squishies in there. It's a huge win for you on the side of Quinnipiac. And right now, it looks like someone's trying to back up. They might get a free tick here.
Yeah, they're able to get that first tick. There you go. Grub taking advantage of the aggression from Wichita State and able to get out alive as well. The question is, can Quinnipiac build off of this first point? Because I doubt that Wichita State is going to give them another free tick.
I don't know what happened there. The Graviton Surge is thrown out, but the Pulse Bomb, it looks like it missed. So that winning combination that Quinnipiac had, they no longer have it. Now Dynamite's just going to clean up this point. They have their support ults. They're going to have their Doomfist Meteor Strike, but none of those are really fight winners. Maybe you can use Cookie's Coalescence as a way to open stuff up, but I mean, Seed is going to have one of their own, and we've already seen how many times that's happened where they both use it at the same time. Seed has always gotten the better of those fights.
And I think that's just because of the support behind Seed. When Seed does their coalescences, you're seeing Dynamite and Flexecution kind of follow that beam and make sure that they're helping out with the damage, and they're able to get a little bit more out of it. And now, with an interesting defense with their Sigma on the on the brick wall here just outside of the spawn. Quinnipiac doesn't have any real choice but to go straight for them. Firewolf gonna get taken out in the very beginning. Mayonnaise hoping to get a punch on anybody that was retreating, but not able to find it. Execution able to blink out of the way just in time, and Wichita State continuing to find themselves the kill. Quinnipiac, 3 ultimates online, 1 minute and 20 seconds left. You've got to get back to spawn, regroup, and come at this with everything you've got.
So at this point, you gotta save that sound barrier as a counter to Flavor Deadly's minefield. Not sure if they're all tracking that, but that's the only time you can really use it. Maybe for the Gravitic Flux, but honestly, that can be a waste at all. I know that used to be the big counter for it, but you get the Coalescence out pretty early from Seed. That's actually going to put you in a pretty advantageous position if you can hold out and not give up too many more ultimates there. Just go back to spawn, but we might see another point back capped.
Oh, yep. One more tick.
Grub, you mad lad.
Yeah, Grub is just like, why fight when I can just sit on point and get us progression while you guys think you have the upper hand? But with 30 seconds left, it's doable. They only need 1 tick now. They don't need to get 2/3 of the point. If they can keep that sound barrier online, maybe draw out the mines in an early spot and then use the sound barrier for the Gravitic Flux. Or take out one of those tanks early on in the fight. Pulse Bomb from Grub gonna be something to look out for. There goes both ultimates and the sound barrier, so Broccoli not gonna have to pick which ultimate the sound barrier for. Gonna be able to grab both. First skill coming through. There's the Pulse Bomb from Execution taking Corey out of the fight. Grub now looking for their target. Finds the Sigma and able to find the kill. Kellic goes down. Wichita State battling to keep the point in their favor. Mayonnaise is going to take Dynamite out of their echoed form and gets kind of caught in that back cubby. Able to avoid the accretion just in time, but not the kills. Wichita State going to keep a firm grasp on the second point.
Now just some Lucio and some dreams, but those dreams today are unfortunately going to be memes. It's going to be Quinnipiac trying to rewrite the book, but not enough ink left in their pens. Different week, same result. Wichita State comes out on top. Going to start off this spring split 2-0 and now surpass Quinnipiac in the standings. I mean, they gave up the first point here. I really think that Torbjorn was the call, but they looked so dominant here on the second point. And the only reason they gave up those 2 ticks is because they got too aggressive. They were out of position.
They were too busy killing 5 other people.
Exactly. And I mean, it's a cool play for Grub. I think it's very smart and innovative, so I still like it. I still like that they got 2 ticks there. They were able to get the first point. They showed a lot more fight than they did in Eichenwald, so it's these building blocks. I know Quinnipiac, they really wanted to come in here and get that revenge matchup win. Unfortunately, they're going to have to wait until later on in the season, possibly playoffs, to get there, but they still showed some effort, and that's what they need. You know, every week, just try to improve. Now they can move on from Wichita State and continue the rest of their spring split.
And it wasn't all bad. We saw a lot of good things on the table from Quinnipiac as well. The big difference is that the follow-up just wasn't there. So all they need to do, watch the VOD back, see where the dots didn't connect, and work on making those connections. And I'm sure that we're going to see a much stronger team next go around. But Wichita State University, 3-0 last time, 3-0 this time, continuing to show that strength. And their record is a pretty good one so far. I believe they're 7-3 now.
Exactly. And
on the upper end of the positive records.
Absolutely, and that's going to move them, I think, into the top 5 of the standings, and probably also into my power rankings next week, which hopefully you guys are reading. It's on my Twitter, but enough about promoting me. We're going to be promoting some of these players on the side of Wichita State in just a second. We're going to have an interview with someone from their side. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with that in a moment.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Before we turn in for the evening, we've got one final treat for you. We've got Seed from the Wichita State University squad. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. That was quite a circus to watch there from you guys. I mean, a controlling victory, to say the least. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was the support conversation. There wasn't too much variation. It looked like you guys felt pretty comfortable in those support picks. Can you tell me a little bit about how you guys landed on the compositions you ran today?
Right. Yeah. So I don't know if anyone here has watched the EGF the previous semester, but we were obviously like pretty strong on the brawl comp. But once the meta started shifting towards the split compositions, we hadn't run that before, and a lot of our like main tanks and even our DPS haven't had enough practice on those heroes. But we've been working on it for the past 3 months, and that's something that we're pretty comfortable on. You know, I think we're all pretty comfortable on whatever needs to be played. But brawl's just our comfort pick, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I've casted you guys quite a few times. I remember you guys really liked riding Zarya, so you ran that a little bit today, but you looked really good with the Wrecking Ball comp. I gotta ask, you played Quinnipiac last week, so you're coming into this rematch. Was there kind of chip on your shoulder? I know for them, they kind of wanted revenge because they got 0-3 then, they got 0-3 again, but they really wanted to even things up. For you guys, was it just business as usual, or did you have another point to prove here in this matchup?
I mean, it's business as usual. You know, we try our hardest no matter if it's a rematch or not. Last week, even though it was a 3-0 for us, we treated it like it was a clean slate. You know, Quinnipiac felt a little bit tougher today, to be honest. Their team comps were a lot more rounded out than it was last week off broadcast. So I hand that off to them. They improved a lot in just a week from their team compositions.
It's interesting you mentioned that. You were talking about how they seemed a bit more well-rounded. I feel like me and Shadow are being a bit critical about some of the things that they ran. One of the things I noted was that they were not running the right supports. I feel like you guys, when you were running Brawl, you were running the Lucio and Moira, and they were running the Mercy and the Zenyatta, and because of that, you guys had a big speed advantage. So was that something you guys noticed and were able to take advantage of, or is it just that you played your usual game and it worked out?
Yeah, I think the number one thing that we notice if we're running Brawl is we first look at their support lineup, right? If they have Ana, we save bubbles for nades. If they don't run a Lucio, then we just run it into them every time. So
I called it.
That was one of the first
told you,
things
Settle.
we looked at. Yeah,
That's why you're the smart one.
No, that's true, and you're the pretty one, so don't worry about it. But I think that's all I have. But Shadow, I know you got one last question before we head out here.
Yeah, one last thing for you, Seed. Any shout outs, any thank yous, anything you want to say to the adoring fans in chat?
Yeah, I just want to say that WSU absolutely loves William and Mary. We love them. I'm not exactly sure how this romance started, but we love them so much. They've improved so much. They're looking so good. We love them. We loved them last season. We're gonna love them this season too. Everyone, look out for William and Mary.
They were they didn't mention you on cast, but they actually talked about you before we got the interview. They were saying that they were scrimming you guys a lot, and they're really having fun with that. So it's awesome to hear you guys mention it too.
Yeah, we scrim them sometimes, but we just love them. We love playing with them.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Seed, for coming in and giving us a little bit of an insight into your team. Congratulations on your win today.
Sure. Thank you guys.
And that's going to be doing it for us, ladies and gentlemen, here at the EGF, Steidel 24 and Jag. It's been a wondrous day of upsets. I mean, I haven't even been here for the whole thing, Jag. So if you want to give people the down low of what's happened here today.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, Marist, they were undefeated. They were the number 2 team coming in. They fall to St. John's, which I think is one of the most up-and-coming teams in the conference. But the upsets did not stop there. As we said, William and Mary, 1-9 entering day, now 2-9. So they did a great job as well. And now Wichita State, able to defeat a team that had the same record as them. And just one last shout out, Septulence. I might be talking about how handsome Shuttle is, but don't worry, you are as well. I love all my co-casters, and I also love my producer build. So it's been a great year, a great day of EGFC Overwatch. It's been a hectic day, and I'm ready to go to bed, honestly. It's been a whirlwind.
I am as well. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, just remember a couple of things as we leave you for the evening. Stay safe, don't be toxic, and have a wonderful night.